Christmas trees. You may not know, North Carolina grows more Christmas trees than any other state. Well, after the big Christmas rush was over, we were passing through the capital of Christmas tree growing land and stopped by and met the king of Christmas trees himself. His name is D. D and I drove around his property for a while. We talked about Christmas tree growing. That was fascinating. But we talked about hard work, immigration, and, well, just watch. A great insight into a world that most of us never see.
I am D. Clark, and we are in beautiful downtown Pinola, which is in Avery County, near Grandfather Mountain, if anyone's familiar with that. Otherwise, you have no clue where we are.
I don't know where we are.
I am a Christmas tree farmer, and I'm a third-generation Christmas tree farmer. It gets in your blood. Most people don't wake up saying, I'm going to be a Christmas tree farmer when I grow up. And I didn't either, if you want to know the truth. When I was never coming back to the farm, when I got in college and it came harvest time, I realized I needed to be in the Christmas tree patch. And so I finished my college and came back home and have raised Christmas trees and landscape plants for, over 40 years now.
Yeah. So what are the ups and downs of the Christmas tree business today? How has the business changed? All the questions about that.
Okay. Now, today, it's a little bit more difficult to raise trees than it has been in the past. We have lots of land encroachment with development, using up the available farmland. The tree I raise is a Fraser fir, which is only native in this little corner of northwest North Carolina, southwest Virginia, and northeast Tennessee. There are only 5 natural stands of Fraser fir in the world, and they are all located in this little triangle here. We have a 5-county area in North Carolina that produces 99.9% of North Carolina grown Christmas trees. North Carolina is the second leading producer of Christmas trees in the United States. And they all, 99.9% come from a 5-county area here. And it's really the only agriculture work you can do here. With the way our land lays, it's not, let me rephrase a little bit. It's really hard to use any kind of mechanization. So this is all hand labor.
Hand labor. You planted these by hand.
You can plant with tractor if you know what you're doing, but with the push we have in this area for folks to come to the mountains to live and have a retirement home, a weekend home, it has driven land prices up so high that you can't afford to buy new land. So you have to utilize the lands you have. So that means that a lot of growers, when they cut a tree down, they will come back in the spring and plant a seedling, which is 5 years old before it's old enough to go into the field. Plant a seedling right beside the stump where they cut one out the previous year. And then they will wait a minimum of 7 years before they can harvest that tree. The average tree in a person's home is around 11 to 12 years old from the time a seed is planted. So this is a very long-term investment. No return for a minimum of 7 years if you were to say, I'm going to be a Christmas tree farmer today and get started this spring. So that's one thing it's hard to deal with. The non-mechanization of our product is another thing. A source of labor is another detriment to what we do. Used to, we were able to use high school kids, after school, local help. That source of help is no longer available. So we are very reliant on Hispanic labor. Most growers use what's called guest worker labor, which is H-2A, which means all the men are legal. They are here to work. They work for 10 months out of the year. They go home for 2 months, and then they come back in the spring ready to work again. And our workforce just left to be, but they had to be back in Mexico by the 10th. So our workforce went from around 20 to around 5. And that 5 counts the family members that's in it.
All right. Do you have to hire illegal or not, or do you have to hire folks because nobody wants to work and do the labor? Because I hear farmers, they're like, you know, nobody wants to do it. That's why we hire Hispanics, because they do the work that Americans don't want to do. Is that?
That's exactly right. For us, using the guest worker program, we are required to hire any local worker that comes to apply for a job. It has been at least 10 years, probably longer, since anyone come looking for a job, and that man left before lunch because we do not allow smoking in the fields, because we have lost a farm to fire before.
This farm here?
No, not this farm, another one.
Okay.
We farm about 400 acres of Christmas trees. The farm we're on right now is probably about a 7 or 8 acre farm, and this is where we do all our retail sales from. The majority of our sales are wholesale, but we do a choose and cut farm here on the farm we're on. This is called Christmas Corner. That's head in Pinola, and lots of history to this farm. Your rearview mirror on your car was invented on this farm.
This one right here?
This farm right here.
The objects in the mirror are closer than they appear?
Exactly.
That was invented?
That was invented here in Pinola on this farm.
Where we're at right now?
Exactly.
How did that happen?
There was a automobile manufacturer that most people have never heard of, called Howard Marmon, who moved to this area back in the late 1800s. Early 1900s, somewhere in there, because he had asthma. And back then they believed you moved to the mountains for asthma, and he moved here from Indiana, and he was starting to try to develop cars back when cars were first being developed. He developed a largest 16-cylinder touring car at the time, sort of the equivalent to what a Rolls Royce would be now for the people. And then he also developed some everyday cars. But he was very instrumental in starting and helping to build the Indianapolis 500 Speedway. So he came up with an oil injection system that we still use today. And he built a race car and entered it in the first Indy 500. They told him it was unsafe because you did not have the second man pouring oil in your motor as you were driving at the time. But because he did not need that man, or with his oil injection system, he did not need that man. So they told him it was unsafe. He brought it back to North Carolina, came up with the idea of a rear view mirror, put a mirror on his car, went back to Indianapolis. They allowed him to race, and he won the first Indy 500, and that car is in the museum at the Indianapolis Speedway. And then he just kept tinkering on with different things. If someone wanted to Google Howard Marmon, it's amazing some of the ideas he came up with in the early 1900s that we still use today. My church got canceled this morning because of weather. So
yeah, so you're just hanging out?
I'm just hanging out. Spending the first day off in 4-6 weeks.
first day off in 6 weeks today.
6 weeks today. We start cutting trees in last week in October, and we have been going since then.
Do you love what you do?
I do. I love what I do. This is something you have to love to be able to do it. You can make a living. You're not going to get rich being a Christmas tree farmer, but you can make a really good You can make a good living. I wouldn't say really good, a comfortable living, but you got to work hard. And now I also have to be a businessman besides being a Christmas tree farmer. Probably business is just as important as being able to grow a Christmas tree. But especially here on the retail, when I get to see my product delivered to the end consumer and see the smiles on the children's faces when they get their tree, and with the fact that I'm a bit heavy and white-haired, and I just have had my first haircut in about 2 months, and I was sort of looking very Santa-ish, and a lot of the kids think I'm Santa when they come on the place. And that makes all the hard work being out harvesting trees on a day like today. If this was 2 weeks ago, we would be out working right in the middle of all this. But that makes all that worthwhile.
What's the secret in life, Dee? What do you think? If you were going to give advice to young people coming up these days so they could be happy, successful, or just, do you have any advice for?
I honestly think the secret in life is remember your family. Family is always important. Regardless of how much you fuss and fight, at the end of the day, most of the time family is going to be there for you. And find a profession that you enjoy. As long as you can make your payments, put food on the table, have shelter, and do something that you enjoy doing, that's what a person should do, in my opinion.
And then the pan over to the Christmas tree farm. Nice job. You've done this before, haven't you?
I get interviewed a lot. I'm on the North Carolina board.
Yeah. So how old are these trees out here, right here?
The small ones you're looking at across the way.
Yeah, on the slope there.
Those are, let's see, there were 5 years old before. Those are going on 7 years. If you figure from the time you plant a seed. Can you see the little baby tree?
Yeah, right here.
Right there.
Yeah.
That tree is 5 years old. That was planted this spring.
Okay.
And you have to keep them in beds where they get a little more babying until they're strong enough to move out into the field.
Has climate change impacted you, or are you like, that ain't real, that's just a normal cycle of, it's not human caused, or I don't know?
I have always thought that climate change was more cyclical. When I was in high school, they were talking about the next ice age coming, because for 2 straight years here in Avery County, we missed almost 2 straight months of school because of snow. But things are changing, and I don't necessarily know if it's climate change, or the influx of new homes being built in this area that cuts down on the amount of ground that rainfall can soak into. But we are getting more severe storms and lots more flooding. And like with Helene here in this area, it really impacted us. It almost put my farm out of business. We have had a very tough year this year, but we can see a light at the end of the tunnel now, where This time last year, we could not see the light. But it seems like we're having 500 and 1,000-year floods every 10 to 20 years now. And I know some of that has to do with the amount of asphalt we have down, and there's nowhere for the runoff to soak into the ground. But we're also getting harder storms. I mean, with Helene, we had 50 inches of rain over a week right here. And that's just hard to fathom.
Politically, you're a farmer. I hear that farmers have all kinds of issues with the government changing laws, foreign competition. You've got the tariffs. I don't know the different rule. Do you have some of the same issues that crop farmers have?
We have a lot of the same issues, other than the fact that the majority of our market is not overseas. I know some of the tariffs and things have affected some of the row crop farmers' markets where a lot of their stuff goes overseas. There is a small portion of the Christmas tree market that does go overseas, but at least 90%, or especially here on the East Coast, at least 90% stays in the United States.
So some of these trees will go to overseas.
Certain, we do not sell, and it's more in the Caribbean and South America is where, but they go. But there are some growers that have a market in the Caribbean and Mexico. The largest Christmas tree lot in the world is in Mexico City, which you don't realize that. But in South America, there's starting to be a demand for Christmas trees in South America.
A beautiful. Oh yeah, I was going to ask you. Okay, so the future. What, you got a kid coming up behind you, or are you going to have this farm for like what's the future of your business here?
That's the $100,000 question. I'm in third generation. I have a son that just has returned overseas from doing a mission stint, and he is helping me come into the 21st century with some marketing and some computer, because I am computer illiterate. I'm going to throw out a term that most of your listeners have never heard of, but when I was in college, we used punch cards to work a computer. So I am very computer illiterate. He is trying to help our marketing be more that's in tune with what, to me, is the younger generation, the 20 to 30-year-old new family. That is my target market for my retail choose and cut, and he's trying to adapt the way I market to hit that market. But he does not want to grow Christmas trees full time. He wants to help and do things, but he doesn't want to live here in Avery County, and I can't blame him. There's not a lot for younger married couples with small children to do. And then I have a daughter that is in the medical profession, and if she would ever want to move back home, her son-in-law would love to help and be the next generation. He is a soybean farmer in Yadkin County and a tractor mechanic, which both lend perfectly for what we do. You know, the way I look at it, farming is farming regardless of your crop. There's just certain specialties you have to learn to farm each crop. So I'm hoping at least one of them might follow up, but no one else in my extended family. I have 5 nephews. None of them are really interested in it. No, I have 6 nephews. I forgot about the one still in college. None of them are really still interested in coming back on the farm. So we're not really sure what our next step is going to be, because I am 63 and I still fall in the younger Christmas tree grower category.
You mean you're young for
our Christmas tree.
There's men and women that are in their 70s and 80s that are still in this business.
Yes, there are. There are. And that worries me because, like I've said earlier, I love what we do. And to keep Christmas trees growing in Western North Carolina, we've got to have some new generations. There are a few, and but there's not that many. At one time, our county had over 1,000 Christmas tree growers. Now we're down to about 300.
So what happens if we stop growing trees in North Carolina? Where are we gonna get our Christmas trees?
That's a good question. I mean, for the fir, and like the majority of people in the southern United States, when they think Christmas tree, they think of a Fraser fir, and this is the only area that a Fraser fir thrives. You can grow them in some other areas, but it's like anything else. When you take it out of its natural habitat, it will grow, but not grow as well. So that's a big question. We could go to an industry that are lots of mom and pop growers like me to more corporate farming. We have some larger growers in the industry, and those are the ones that are expanding now. Most of the smaller, I do about 400 acres. My family does about 400 acres. And like from 20 to 300 to 400 acres are sort of still considered a mom and pop operation. And we deal with local garden centers, tree lots, things like that. We don't deal with the box stores. And the box stores serve a great niche for our industry, but some of the larger farmers grow with them, and if there's no more mom and pop growers, their only avenue to buy a Christmas tree is going to be at a box store.
Well, we may be looking at some of the last beautiful trees. If we don't get some younger generations to step up here, the trees won't be as big and majestic and beautiful as we're used to. Is that a fair assessment?
That's a fair assessment. We're trying to take some steps as an industry. Right now we have a couple high schools here in the area that through their agriculture programs are trying to set up some internships with tree farmers. So maybe some of the high school kids get out, work a little bit, develop a love for it. I've never done any differently. I was telling my son, one of my earliest memories of Thanksgiving was being out with my grandpa on a day like today, and we were cutting Christmas trees, and back then you tied them up by hand, and then you took a handsaw and you sawed them off at the ground, just like you do on home construction at home with a little handsaw. And it was snowy, it was cold. We had bread bags over our feet because this was before waterproof shoes. And we built a little campfire at lunchtime to warm up and had a cold pork chop sandwich was our lunch. And then we went back to getting trees out. And so this is all I've ever known. So we're hoping through these internship programs, maybe some kids will develop a love for Christmas trees like I have.
Thank you. That was great, D. Kids just don't want to work hard anymore, do they?
They don't.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're now the most traveled channel in America. We've seen so many places and continue to get into the rest of America. If you're looking to move and you want help with the real estate agent or need ideas on where you can move, email me or click the link in the description. My video call consulting program might be perfect for you. I also have a new ebook. It's a comprehensive guide on the best and sometimes worst parts of the country that you can move to. We update that book all the time as we travel. The details for the consulting program and the ebook are in the description below. If you want Mappy merch, like t-shirts, stickers, and mugs, there's a link to my store in the description, or just click store at the top of the channel. You should think about joining as a channel member. Click the link in the description, or click on membership at the top of the page, or just scan this QR code on your screen. As a member, you'll get to see all the excerpts, Mappy bloopers, and uncensored content. There's even stuff I did back in college on there. I also do cameos. I can send your birthday wishes or hellos or whatever you want in a video message straight to your inbox. The link to my Cameo page is in the description. And finally, we have another channel that you should subscribe to. It's called Interviews Across America, where I upload all the uncut, complete interviews with real Americans from all walks of life. The link for that channel is in the description too, or just search for Interviews Across America. That's it. Thanks for watching.